Good morning children, this is Murari Daman. I am here to discussing about NEET Zoology. In NEET Zoology part, today I am going to discuss about structure of neuron. Nervous system made up of two types of cells. One type of cells are called neurons and second type of cells are called neuroglia. And especially neurons, the neurons are structural and functional units of nervous system, and neurons also help in generation of action potentials. And the second type of cells are called neuroglia. There are different cells together formed like a neuroglia, such as the first one is Schwann cells, and second one is oligodendrocytes, and the third one is astrocytes. And the fourth one is called microglia, and fifth one is called ependymal cells. Schwann cells, oligodendrocytes, astrocytes, microglia, and ependymal cells. All these cells, they are together, they are united to form a type of cells present inside the nervous system. They are called neuroglia, and neuroglia are non-neural cells. They won't help in the generation of action potentials, but they help to neurons for the generation of action potentials. But today we are going to discuss about the structure of neuron. In each neuron, there are three parts are identified, such as the first one is called cell body, and second dendrites, and the third one axon. In each neuron, there are three parts are identified, such as the first one cell body, second type dendrites, and third one axon. So we are talking about cell body. The cell body is the largest structure of the neuron. Cell body is largest structure of neuron. And cell body is also known as soma or perikaryon. It is also known as soma or perikaryon, and it has a large nucleus at its center. Large nucleus at its center, and around the nucleus some structures are present, and these structures are the representatives of rough endoplasmic reticulum. And what are the structures which are present around the nucleus of the neurons? They are the representatives of rough endoplasmic reticulum. They are called nissl granules. And these nissl granules, they consist of ribosomes. And presence of nissl granules is the characteristic feature of the neurons. Presence of nissl granules is characteristic nature of the neuron, and these nissl granules only present inside the neurons. They are not present inside any other kind of body cells. So that's why the presence of nissl granules, it is the characteristic feature of the neuron. And these nissl granules, they help in the protein synthesis. Nissl granules help in protein synthesis. And now we are talking about extinctions of the cell body. There are two types of extinctions arising from the cell body. The first type of extinction, they are called dendrites. They are called dendrites. Dendrites. There are two types of extinctions arising from the neuron, such as dendrites and axon. Now we are talking about dendrites. Dendrites are short extinctions. Dendrites are the branched extinctions. Dendrites are branched extinctions, and dendrites are many in number. And dendrites helps in they are receiving the information from the other neurons. Dendrites help in receiving the signals or action potentials from the other neuron. So that's why the dendrites are also known as the input extinctions of the cell body. Dendrites are also known as these dendrites are also known as input extinctions of the cell body. They are input branches. They are also called input branches of cell body. Input branches of cell body. The Nissil granules are also present inside the dendrites. Nissil granules also present in dendrites. Nissil granules also present in dendrites. Dendrites are the short extinctions. Dendrites are the branched extinctions. Dendrites are many in number. Dendrites are also known as the input branches of the cell body. And dendrites consist of Nissil granules. And dendrites helps in receiving the signals or action potentials from the other neurons. Dendrites help in receiving the information, receiving the signals, receiving the action potential, or receiving the stimuli. Yeah. Second type of extinction from the cell body of the neuron is called axon. Second type of extinction from the cell body of the neuron is called axon. Axon. The part of the neuron which does not contain the Nissil granules is called axon. So, no Nissil granules in axon. So axons do not have the Nissil granule. The place of the cell body from where the axon is arrives, that place is called axon hillock. That place is called axon hillock. Axon also called nerve fiber. When the many axons are united together, they are formed into nerve. The axon also called nerve fiber. When group of axons are united together, they are formed into nerve. From the axon hillock, after some extinction, the axon can be divided into different branches. These branches of the axon, they are also known as axon terminals. The axon terminals are also known as telodendria. Axon terminal are also known as telodendria. At the end of the axon terminal, or each branch of the axon terminal, it becomes swollen. Each branch of the axon terminal, it becomes swollen. The swollen structures of axon terminals are known as synaptic knobs. Synaptic knob or synaptic button. And inside the synaptic knob or synaptic button, some vesicles are present. Those vesicles are known as synaptic vesicles. They are known as synaptic vesicles. And these synaptic vesicles, they are filled with the chemicals. Those chemicals are also known as neurotransmitters. And these neurotransmitters are the chemicals which helps in the generation of action potential, which helps in the transmission of action potential from one neuron to another neuron. So that is why the action potential, it is transported from the one neuron to another neuron through the chemicals. They are called neurotransmitters. That kind of transmission is known as synaptic transmission. That is also known as synaptic transmission. synaptic transmission, synaptic transmission, synaptic transmission. Some of the important of neurotransmitters are, okay, at the end of each branch of axon terminal becomes swollen. That swollen structure of each branch of axon terminal is called synaptic nerve. And within the synaptic nerve, some vesicles are present. They are synaptic vesicles. These synaptic vesicles filled with the chemicals. Those chemicals are called neurotransmitters. And these neurotransmitters helps in the transmission of information from one neuron to another neuron. The transmission happens through the synaptic nerves. That is called synaptic transmission. That is called synaptic transmission. And some important neurotransmitters are acetylcholine, acetylcholine, dopamine, and gamma amino butyric acid, and these are the some important of neurotransmitters. Among all these neurotransmitters, the most common neurotransmitter is the acetylcholine. Now, the cells present around the axon, they are called Schwann cells, and the outermost covering of the Schwann cells is called myelin sheath. And while wrapping around the Schwann cell, the myelin sheath leaves some regular intervals. These regular intervals are known as nodes of Ranvier. Because of presence or absence of the myelin sheath around the axons are classified into two types. Such as myelinated axons, non-myelinated axons. Myelinated axons, non-myelinated axons. Myelinated axons, non-myelinated axons. Myelinated axons, non-myelinated axons. And myelinated axons, they are surrounded by the myelin sheath, and myelinated axons present inside the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Myelinated axons present inside the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. And myelin sheath of the myelinated axons of the central nervous system, that is made up of oligodendrocytes. And non-myelinated axons, they do not have the myelin sheath around the axons.